well, it's dead on 12:30, so I think we'll make a start, as I'm conscious that some people will be joining us during their lunch break. So I just wanted to say on behalf of HILS, thank you so much for attending our session today about Meals on Wheels. This week is National Meals on Wheels Week, and the theme we're celebrating this year is celebrating our Meals on Wheels heroes. I think given the announcement on Saturday of a new national lockdown, this is just absolutely highlights the importance of Meals on Wheels during this time for people who struggle to shop for food, struggle to prepare their own food and need assistance to make sure that they are receiving a healthy, nutritious and tasty meal as often as they need it. So obviously, just to avoid any doubt, we will be continuing to provide our service during this lockdown. And as I said, it really does highlight the importance of the service that we provide. Without further ado, then I will ask Chantal to start the video, which will kick off our session today.
Hello and welcome to our first ever virtual Meals on Wheels Week celebration. We are absolutely delighted that you have joined us. Thank you for making the time to be with us today. You're going to hear about some of our services during the week, but in case you don't know about us, HILS is a charitable social enterprise set up with the support of Hertfordshire County Council and now supporting around 15,000 people every year, helping them to stay happy, healthy and independent at home. So we provide services in people's homes, we provide services in the community, we work in partnership with so many wonderful organisations, and we're going to tell you more about that today. Of course, if you've got any other questions, you can always contact us at any time, but thank you for being one of our partners, thank you for being one of our supporters, and I hope you have a great session today.
I'm Margaret, and I enjoy my Meals on Wheels, which started when I was discharged from hospital about 18 months ago, and I've continued with it ever since. I can choose the meals I need and I can eat as much as I want, and I don't have the effort of going in the kitchen, spending a lot of time getting it ready, or washing it up.
At the moment, we are facing a huge crisis in this country with regards to health and social care. And the problem is that everyone looks at the issues quite separately.
My meal is usually delivered sometime between 12 o'clock and 1 o'clock. The people who deliver it are extremely pleasant people, and I feel they're always keeping an eye on me to make sure I'm all right.
Our people and teams are the things which make us really special. Making sure that we all believe and really live our values is crucial. Every time one of our team members goes out and about and speaks to the people that we're serving, they are really taking warmth and goodness and happiness with them, trying to impact people's lives for the better.
Hertfordshire Independent Living Service is open 365 days a year. We deliver in all weather conditions, including snow, rain, whatever. We will try our hardest to get to you. My role involves delivering meals. I have a really good relationship with the people that I go to on my rounds. So I enjoy having a little bit of a laugh and a banter with them, and obviously seeing them every day.
They built from something which was a fairly basic commodity type product to something which looks at the holistic needs of the people they're looking after. They've increased their ability to be resilient financially, which obviously is a large part of what this particular award is all about, but also that they've increased the impact that they're having.
Now, over the intervening 10 years, it hasn't all been plain sailing, and actually we've faced some real challenges, particularly when money is tight in health and social care and where lots of other Meals on Wheels services have been axed. But we've weathered the storms, we've got through it, we've changed almost every part of our operation so that we can be more cost effective and so that we can run things better. We employ 200 people now, from 7 at the very beginning, and we love doing good and changing the world through social business.
I think anybody in my position or anyone who has no support should be able to get Meals on Wheels if they want to have it, because at least they are receiving some form of support as well as the nourishment which they get from it. My real favourite is the apricot crumble, which is absolutely gorgeous.
Hopefully that gives you a little bit of a flavour food pun intended, of the kind of organisation we are and the service that we provide. I've also just realised I didn't actually introduce myself at the beginning. So my name is Catherine. I'm Director of Services at HILS. So I'm responsible for all of our client-facing services, including Meals on Wheels. And I'd like to introduce Gary, who is one of our Meals Service Managers. And Gary is going to just give you a little bit more information about our meal service, what we do and how we support people. And please do feel free to continue to put any questions in the Q&A box, and we'll pick those up at the end of the session. Otherwise, I'll hand over to Gary.
Thank you. Right, so my name is Gary Pinkney. I'm the Assistant Meal Service Manager, as Catherine said, for the 2 of our 4 sites. I look after St Albans and Ware. The other 2 sites, my colleague Sheldon, who looks after Letchworth and Hemel, from which we operate our Meals on Wheels. My sole responsibility is that I look after the team leaders and support them in running both sites and looking after, in turn, their drivers and the vulnerable clients we go out to. At HILS, since 2007, we've developed some 16 or so services. However, our goals have remained the same: to identify and support vulnerable people in Hertfordshire to live not only happy but also independent lifestyles, which in present times is an invaluable service in itself. Since COVID, we've seen a rapid increase of clients due to the lockdowns and government guidance, which is forever changing. This change that all staff, including HILS clients, have been taken to very well. We have a great relationship with Herts County Council. In particular, from a Meals on Wheels perspective, we have great ties with the Health and Community Services, and the relationship is very much a two-way draw. Health and Community Services will refer vulnerable clients to Meals on Wheels, and we are able to support clients and ensure that they don't slip off of the radar. Also, for clients referred by family or self-referred clients, we are able to refer those to Health and Community Services to access further support, whether this be home adaptations, needs assessment, or financial assessment. We achieve this by our wonderful drivers building a healthy rapport, as you saw in the video, with the clients, of which some would go on live with a limited, if not no, human contact at all. So for our drivers to establish that connection, we can pick up on issues that would otherwise go unnoticed, which is truly heartbreaking. So in doing this, we ensure clients feel truly valued and cared for within our communities. As I mentioned, our referral process can be accessed from all sources, be that general practitioners, social services, hospital discharge teams, family, friends, or the clients themselves. Not only our mains meal service, but also we do a tea time and breakfast service also. Our Meals on Wheels team is heavily supported by nutritionists and dietitians. We have working in-house. These teams work with our clients, families and GPs and other organisations such as speech and language therapists to adjust the client's meal file to support them safely. What this means is, unlike a standard meal being provided to a client, for those with more specific medical concerns such as dysphagia and swallowing difficulties, be this from birth or as a result of a stroke, we can provide specialist meals that have their textures modified to a thinner and easier to chew and swallow consistency. This is a bit of a rabbit hole of information, which I won't take the glory for going into today, as I believe this is covered in tomorrow's virtual session, so I'll leave that to the professionals. As a Meals on Wheels service, we dish out some 520,000 or so meals a year, which is a hell of a lot of vulnerable people. But not only is this not just a lot of full bellies, it's also a lot of smiles on faces. It's a comforting chat to those that need it. It's the reassurance to clients and their families alike, knowing that their loved one is being cared for on a regular basis by a familiar face. Because we cater for the whole of Hertfordshire, there are many different tastes, likes and dislikes, and specific dietary requirements. So like the texture modified meals, we also provide kosher, vegetarian and ethnic meals. This allows our clients to receive what they want after selecting from a wide range of meals available. We also have clients that are that are part of our pop-in service, which is a short 5 minutes our drivers will spend with each client, who are able to support themselves with a meal, but still want that same caring individual to give them some time in the day. Within this time, we can make drinks, ask after well-being, remind to take medication, and again, escalate any concerns that we notice while present to health and community services to better access support. I've been with HILS for 5+ years now, and the job satisfaction I get from supporting our teams, in turn supporting thousands of vulnerable people, is unmeasurable. So I'd like to thank you all for your time today, and if you have any questions specifically for Meals on Wheels, I'll happily answer them now. Alternatively, Sarah or Catherine can answer the more complicated stuff.
Thanks for that, Gary. Hopefully Gary's given you a little bit of a flavour of what the, it's a flavour again, I can't stop with the food puns, a bit of a sense of what the Meals on Wheels service is like today. And as Gary said, we do about 520,000 meals in a year, which is, I think makes us the biggest not-for-profit meals provider in the country, which is something that we're very proud of. I just wanted to give you a really brief sense of the kind of history of how we got to this point, because I think part of Meals on Wheels Week is also recognising that other areas don't have services or don't have services that are quite as sort of scaled up as we are, and understanding sort of where we came from hopefully will help provide a bit of inspiration for others. So we originally set up in 2007, and the County Council, Hertfordshire County Council, helped us to set up. And the reason for that was that they wanted to ensure that there was, as Gary said, the same provision of Meals on Wheels across the whole of Hertfordshire, no matter where people live, their different needs, tastes, etc., that they could get a consistent, high quality service. So before that, the 10 district and borough councils were each doing their own thing. So there were 10 different services and price points and levels of quality. So the first few years of our life were really about growth and transferring people from that service into ours, and making sure that we're providing that high quality service everywhere, 365 days a year. We achieved that by about 2013, and then since that point we've been developing not only the Meals on Wheels service itself, but also developing into other things. So as Gary mentioned, our nutrition service, we also provide a variety of other services which we're going to have further sessions about this week. So I won't give you too many spoilers, but I think we're up to about 12 or 15 services now, depending on how you count them. The common thread through all of those is, as Gary mentioned, around making those connections with the clients and seeing the whole person, and it not just being about the thing that we're delivering. So not just the meal, not just the activity session, not just the nutrition check or whatever it is, but thinking about their other needs, providing other types of support, supporting them to access other things that may be available to them, and escalating issues as needed. So we're really proud to deliver a Meals on Wheels service, but we're also really proud that it is more than just a meal. And in fact, in our latest client survey, we asked clients to tell us what they felt were the most important things about the service that we provide. And the food did not come first, it came second. And the thing that came first was that daily friendly interaction with our members of staff, which people value very highly. Moving on to the big C word, COVID. That interaction has obviously been a bit of a challenge over the last 6 months or so. And at the outset of COVID, we had to stop doing some of the things that we usually do to assist people with their meals. But we're really pleased that we've been able to return back to our business as usual procedures, albeit with more PPE and an awful lot more guidance in place around how to keep people safe. But we are still able to plate up people's meals, to cut up their meal for them, encourage them to eat, make them a cup of tea, all of those sorts of things. That without that, as Gary said, there's partly they wouldn't necessarily have any social interaction with other people during the day, and our team are making sure that they're having a chat while they're there, but also to make sure that everyone can access their meal and that they're getting the support that they need in order to eat. So again, it's more than just putting a meal in front of somebody. It's really making sure that we're taking care of their nutritional, social, psychological health needs in whichever way that we can. And we like to also be a sort of a gateway to other services as well, that if our clients know our staff really well, as Gary said, that's one of the things that we really try and emphasize. they will then talk to us about their other needs and requirements, and we can assist them to into other services that perhaps they may not have taken up without us. So I guess the kind of the main message that we wanted to get across to you guys today is that we are extremely proud to be a Meals on Wheels organisation. We do a lot more than meals now, but Meals on Wheels, has always been our route, is our biggest service, and we really want to use this week as an opportunity to not just shout about the services that we provide, and also talk about how our staff are, really at the core of that. They're our Meals on Wheels heroes. But we also want to, hopefully act as a bit of a inspiration to other areas that perhaps don't have a service and think about having one again. I would like to expand or develop on theirs, because we know that Meals on Wheels has a huge impact on people's lives, and we'll be circulating our impact report shortly, which will give more information about the kinds of impact that we're having on people. But we know that people are less lonely when they receive our services, they visit their GP less, they feel more confident, they feel safer. And we're really proud, particularly that throughout pandemic, we've managed to keep that going to people and keep them safe and well in their homes. So I'm gonna stop there so I don't take over all of our Q&A time. Does anybody have any questions? Oh, here's one. So how can we help you build on influencing others? Oh, that's a fantastic question. Also, hi, Annie. Yeah, really great question. We, as I said, we really strongly believe that Meals on Wheels should be more than just a meal, and it should be that way into people to then support them with other things in their life. I think one really important thing that everybody could do to help us, and particularly this week, which is a sort of a strange combination of a celebratory week of Meals on Wheels, but also an impending national lockdown because of the pandemic. The one thing that people could do for us this week is to talk about Meals on Wheels wherever you get the opportunity, until people are bored of you talking about it, and really shout about how important it is, because we are so lucky in Hertfordshire that the County Council continue to support us, and we are able to provide a service on such a big scale as we are, and not all areas are as lucky. So yeah, if you could shout about Meals on Wheels and how brilliant it is and the impact that it makes, and why it is absolutely worth councils investing in preventative services like ours, and the NHS investing in preventative services too, to avoid the need for further care in the future, that would be fantastic. Oh, more questions. Okay, question. Many of my clients are over the border in Buckinghamshire or Bedfordshire, but have a GP practice in Hertfordshire. Would this exclude them from accessing HILS? Unfortunately, yes. We are provide service on the basis of where the client lives. And we are supported with funding from Hertfordshire County Council. So we provide services solely to those who live in Hertfordshire. There are a few border complications with people GP surgeries versus where they live. If the client lives in Hertfordshire, we can support them. If they live over the border in Buckinghamshire, I believe, and I can see Roger is in the thing, and hopefully he can comment on this. I believe there is a Meals on Wheels service in Buckinghamshire, which is provided by Appetito, who are a partner organisation. So hopefully people over the borders can access Meals on Wheels in Bucks. I'm not sure about Bedfordshire. Part of our sort of plan for the future is to continue to grow and develop, and either inspire others or support others to set up Meals on Wheels services, or step in and support them in partnership with Appetito where that's appropriate. So watch this space. Maybe one day we'll be providing in Bedfordshire, but unfortunately at the moment we can only support clients in Hertfordshire. So another question. Roger said, yes, there is a service in both Buckinghamshire and Bedfordshire by Appetito. So Appetito are one of our partner organisations, I would say our closest partner. Appetito are both a manufacturer and a deliverer of Meals on Wheels. So Appetito make the food that we serve to our clients, both individuals at home and lunch clubs. They also make the food for and own the franchise for Wiltshire Farm Foods, who you've probably also heard of. So we work together really closely with Appetito to make sure that we have a really good range of meals that meet all of our clients' nutritional needs, taste preferences, likes, dislikes, and make sure they've got lots of variety if they're receiving meals 365 days a year from us. So Appetito also deliver Meals on Wheels in various areas, and yeah, I can confirm they do in Bucks and Bedfordshire. So thank you, Roger. Question from Annie: how do you keep up your own morale in such hard times? That is a good question, Annie. We have had the most challenging, one of the most challenging periods, I think, in the organisation's history over the last 6 months, I think it's fair to say. Having said that, we did go through a period of time in about 2009 where it looked like we were going to go under, but obviously we made it through that. I think the thing that has enabled us to get through this very challenging 6 months has been that our teams really genuinely share our values. They are caring, they're here for our clients. They work for us because they genuinely want to help and support people in their homes. And I think in a strange way, COVID has brought people together, particularly during the first lockdown, where the roads were dead quiet and we were the only, we didn't see very many people going out and about, but we were still there every day, no matter the circumstances, checking on our clients and making sure that they were well. And we've had, people who, for example, were off because they were shielded and couldn't come to work at the beginning of COVID. And when they all came back, they were desperate to come back because they wanted to check in on their clients again and make sure that they were okay. And I think that's been what's kind of kept us going, is that, in a time of national, international, global need, we've been able to step up and do something about it and support people directly on a day-to-day basis. I think it's fair to say that that's what's kept us going. Gary, I don't know if you anything else on sort of from the perspective of the staff, what's kept us going?
Indeed, much like you said, it's not just a job for the staff that we come in. So it's to keep up our own morale is quite a natural movement, because, as you say, they want to be seeing the clients, they want to help. On top of that, we've had extra support provided through hot meal provisions with different councils for homeless who, because of the pandemic, have been given temporary accommodation in hotels. So we've been able to support more or a different group of vulnerability to what we're used to. And that's in turn, the drivers are seeing a lot more impact than what they're having firsthand, which I think that helps tremendously.
Yeah, it's been great to be able to provide sort of wider range of food services during this time. Obviously, most lunch clubs have been closed throughout, and unfortunately, many had still not reopened, and even if they had, would probably be closing now due to the lockdown. So whilst we haven't been supporting people in groups, we have been able to support people, as Gary said, who are in crisis for a different reason, who need temporary support because they've been rehoused, or because they're in financial need, or something else has changed in their life. And certainly the massive increase in meal numbers that we saw during the first lockdown, I think, was indicative of the fact that people's other forms of support fell by the wayside during that time, and that we were able to kind of pick up the slack was really important. I've just seen a question's actually just come in about that. So what was our sort of capacity during the pandemic? Could we meet the demand, and what's kind of the current situation? So we have met all the demand that has come to us. The increase in Meals on Wheels on a daily basis was absolutely staggering. We'd never served so many meals before, ever, which was a bit of a challenge for our team, but we brought in extra staff. We had some volunteers come in and support us as well. We put on extra delivery rounds and did basically anything we needed to do to make sure that we didn't turn anybody away. So everybody who needed Meals on Wheels got meals during the lockdown. At the moment, our present position is that really the meal numbers have kind of gradually come down over the summer and have just about returned back to what we would expect as to be normal at this time of year. Having said that, that's total meal numbers, so that would be Meals on Wheels and lunch clubs, but it's entirely made up of Meals on Wheels. So we're still serving more Meals on Wheels than we would expect to for the time of year, and far fewer lunch club meals. So I wouldn't be surprised if we get a few more requests this week with the lockdown coming up. In fact, I've seen a few come in this morning already. But we will be able to meet that demand, and we have various plans in place for if our lunchtime slots got squeezed, we could do a second delivery at another point during the day. So we will make sure that we don't have to turn anybody away. There was also a question, is there a minimum age for our service? Great question. No, there is no minimum age for our service. We do have eligibility criteria, but they are extremely broad, and it's aimed at being a preventative service so that we are supporting people as early as possible as their needs develop. So someone only has to meet one of our eligibility criteria, which are essentially if they struggle to shop for, cook, reheat or prepare their own meals. If the person who would normally do that for them is themselves away, ill or on holiday, or if they have temporary need because they're going through some sort of health crisis, perhaps they've been bereaved, recently discharged from hospital, or just simply if they are frail, vulnerable, elderly, disabled, and struggle to, for any reason, cook for themselves. So quite a broad range of eligibility criteria, but there's no age-related criteria. So there's another question here about adult social care, safeguarding and Hearts Help. So we refer to all sorts of other organisations depending on the specific issue that the client is facing. We would definitely instigate a safeguarding concern if that is what is needed by the client. But obviously there are a lot of concerns that we do observe or clients share with us that wouldn't reach the criteria for safeguarding, but the person needs some extra support. So we will often refer to Hearts Help, who will assist in finding other forms of support or other services for clients. But we'll also directly make referrals to other services that we know of that we believe could help someone. So we make a lot of referrals to Age UK services, for example, other partner organisations, and lots of other ways that we can try and find support for people if we don't offer a service ourselves. So another one. Just a lovely message from Annie saying no other questions other than needing to spread the word. Thank you, Annie. In view of the recent announcement of a further lockdown, do you think this could increase Meals on Wheels demand again? Yes. Probably. We've seen a few this morning already coming in. So, for example, someone who would normally, take their parent out for lunch a couple of times a week will no longer be able to do that. So they'll be receiving Meals on Wheels. We also had a lot of increased demand first time round from clients who had perhaps a next of kin or an informal carer who was looking after them, who they themselves needed to be shielded and didn't feel that it was safe for them to be out and supporting their loved one with food shopping and that sort of thing. I think it's fair to say that as an organisation and probably as a nation, we are better prepared for this lockdown than we were first time round. I'm hoping that we won't see the same kind of rush on the shops and online supermarket shopping slots and all sorts of things. And Hertfordshire certainly is better prepared in terms of emergency food provision. So there may not be the same kind of increase in demand that we saw at the beginning of COVID, but I expect that we will see a much busier November than we might have done. So a couple of other questions around the various different dietary choices. Gary, do you want to pick that up?
Yeah, certainly. So yeah, we do cover kosher, vegetarian, different dietary requirements, along with the texture modified versions that I mentioned earlier. There's the next part of this question. Cash on delivery? No, we can't accept cash on delivery. The preferred method is direct debit, or there's standing orders that we can cover or arrange.
We'll try and work with the person to pay in a way that suits them. Direct debit is the easiest for everybody, but we'll also take checks and card payments and all that sort of stuff. The only thing we don't take is cash. In terms of dietary choices, as Gary said, we can offer a really huge range of stuff. We do have a fair amount of clients who have complex dietary needs. So we have a standard menu which has 5 choices a day, and 4 choices for dessert, which people can choose whatever they want. It doesn't have to be the particular thing that was on the menu for that day. They can choose from anything that's on the menu. We refresh that menu twice a year just to keep it changing and reflect the seasons a little bit. But beyond that, we then also have all of those specialist dietary choices as well. So yes, we do halal, kosher, vegetarian, vegan, all texture modified. And we're able to do that because we can get those meals from Appetito, who actually won a Queen's Award for Innovation for their texture modified meals, which are tasty. I've tasted them, and they are the way that they puree the meals. For example, we had carrots as part of the meal. The puree is not just a blob, it's like molded into the shape of batons of carrots. And because it's pureed as an individual ingredient rather than, again, a big amorphous blob, it has a really strong taste of the thing that has, so that the most carroty carrot flavor in that carrot puree. And because they're set into those molds, they look really respectful as well. So you could be eating in a group setting, and both everyone could be having the same chicken roast dinner. It's just that one person's happens to be pureed and set in a mold, but they're eating the same meal as everybody else. So it looks great as well as tasting great. So we do also have clients who have like unusual complex dietary needs or allergies that sort of aren't the standard top allergens, and we do have a nutrition and dietetics team who will deal with those bespoke complex dietary needs and make sure that, for example, someone with kidney problems might need to have a low potassium diet, and we can sort them out with requests like that. And this is where I plug tomorrow's session, which is about the nutrition and wellbeing service that we provide. So if you are really interested in that side of things, so how do we make sure that people are getting what they need nutritionally, do come along to that session if you're available. And then there's one more question from Annie. Do you have a favourite story of your success? Oh, good question. I always like to talk about a gentleman called Les Shambrook, who we served with Meals on Wheels for, I think, 6 or 7 years at home. He had cancer multiple times during his life, and kept sort of fighting back from it, bless him. And he lived at home in Codicot, near Welwyn. And he had us visit, and he had carers visiting. And he was a really interesting character. His house was filled with memories from his life. His living room there were pictures top to bottom on every wall of his extended family. And in his back room, he actually had an old printing press, because he'd actually worked on newspapers before he retired. So that house meant a lot to him. It had been his family home. His wife had died a few years previously. It was incredibly important to him that he managed to stay living at home, surrounded by all of those memories. And he had carers coming, and he had us to support him. And we went 365 days a year for 7 years or so, and supported him through having that cancer twice, linked him on to all sorts of other services. And there's actually a video of him on our YouTube channel, which you can watch, where he says that receiving Meals on Wheels completely changed his life. And he changed our lives. He was the most incredible character. And he died a couple of years ago, but his family have given us permission to keep talking about him and using his video, because Meals on Wheels meant so much to him. And he left our service in the end because he died, which is a common reason why people actually do finish their service with us, which from our perspective is a marker of success, because what he wanted most in the world was to stay living at home, even as he got more unwell and needed more support. And we were able to support him to do that, and to change his food as his needs changed, and to adapt our service to him right up until he died. And he was able to die at home, which is what he wanted. So a story where a client dies seems like a strange one to choose as a success story, but from Mr. Shambrook's perspective, we were something that helped him to live his final years in a more dignified way, have access to the food that he enjoyed, have somebody to chat with, and and share his memories with, and support him to stay at home right until the end. So Mr. Shamrock would be the success story that I would choose. So any final questions? I can't see. Oh, there's one in the chat. What do you do if someone doesn't answer the door? Gary, do you want to take that one?
Yeah, so it's a bit of a lengthy process. The procedure that all drivers will follow, if there's no answer at the door, we'll have their telephone number on the round sheets. We'll try their telephone number. If there's no answer on that and there's no key safe, because if there's a key safe, we'd like to have the key safe number. We might try a neighbour. Failing that, call the office. They'll then chase it with the next of kin. If we can't get hold of the next of kin, or if it goes far too long without being able to make any contact with anyone to find the whereabouts of the client, it will then result eventually in a police welfare check. We will then enter to find whether or not the client's home or not. But it's a very extensive process where there's never a time where we go from one day to the next not knowing the whereabouts of the client, so that the end result is we know whether or not the client's home, and we also call around the hospitals to find out if there's been any admission.
Yeah, I think it's really important because we know that people are relying on our service every day in order to eat. That occasionally, of course, we have people who forget that we're coming and go off somewhere else. Not that that's been a problem during COVID, but we know that people are relying on us and are expecting us to be there. So if they're not there, we do take that really seriously and make sure that we follow up any possible avenue to try and find them. And last resort, call the police, because we've got a lot of steps to do before that. But we've got a really good partnership with the Hertfordshire Constabulary, and they do take those reports seriously. They do go and check on people and do welfare checks for us if we are at all concerned about somebody. But also we try and do lots of preventative work with them and other organisations as well to try and raise awareness amongst our clients of potential scams, or make sure that their smoke detectors are checked, make sure they're warm enough in winter, that they're keeping cool in summer, all sorts of other things that we try and do with partner organisations to look after the sort of wider well-being of our teams as well. So there's a couple of questions about just seeing the sort of summary of what we've done today and a link to Mr. Shamrock. So this session is being recorded, so we can circulate the recording if you want to watch it back or pass it on to anybody else. And we can also circulate with that the link to sign up to our newsletter. And you can find the video of Mr. Shamrock on our YouTube channel, which we can also circulate as well. You can see the various bits on there which we're really proud of, interviews with clients, staff, and a couple of segments on national news, which we're quite proud of, spreading the word about Meals on Wheels and how important it is. So I think we officially said that we would finish at 1:10, and it is 1:10. So I don't think I can see any other questions coming through the chat. I would really encourage you, if you do have any more questions, please do get in touch with us. I'm also happy to just stay for another 5-10 minutes or so if anyone does have any further questions. But other than that, I just would really like to say thank you to all of you for joining us and for letting us give you a bit more information about the service that we provide. As I said, we are really proud of what we do, and it is not an exaggeration to say that we feel like our staff are Meals on Wheels heroes, going out, come rain, snow, pandemic, anything that the world can throw at us, we will be there 365 days a year for our clients. So if you would like any more information, obviously check our website, have a look at the YouTube channel, or get in touch with us anytime. We're always open, always here, so we'd be delighted to hear from you. And thank you very much for your time.